In May of 2024, a loving mother of 4 vanished without a trace. No one seemed to be able to account for her whereabouts, even after her truck was found abandoned in a deserted location. The public quickly turned their attention to her husband after learning about ongoing domestic violence in their relationship. Her case is now being investigated as a homicide, though no remains have been located. Welcome to Without a Trace. I'm your host, Jalen. Every file holds a mystery. Every story deserves to be heard. This is Nikki's story. Nikki Saelee-McCain was born on November 9, 1984 in Thailand in a refugee camp. Her family belongs to the Yemeni ethnic group which originated in southern China. Her family eventually settled in Redding, California, where they found a supportive group of other Yemenians. She is the third of 7 children and was very close with her 3 sisters, May, Kay, and Chloe. Nikki had the most personality out of all of her sisters, and her sisters knew that if they ever needed someone to do something for them, Nikki was the person they could count on. Nikki is described as goofy, silly, and very outgoing. She has a big heart and finds everything funny. She is also very brave and daring. In her 20s, Nikki met Tyler McCain, who was born and raised in Northern California. Nikki has been married to Tyler for 16 years. Throughout their relationship, the couple had 4 children together, and while they appeared to be the picture-perfect family, those close to Nikki saw a darker side of Tyler. Nikki's sisters first started noticing her injuries in 2019. According to Nikki's sisters, Chloe and Kay, Nikki and Tyler's relationship worsened when the pandemic struck in 2020. In the years that followed, their relationship became increasingly violent. On one occasion, Tyler hit Nikki in the face with a cutting board, leaving a gash running from her eyebrow to her forehead. Nikki would downplay her injuries, trying to maintain a strong exterior for her siblings and children. But behind closed doors, the couple was constantly working on their relationship, trying to mend things. But things didn't get better. Nikki was often seen with bruises and black eyes. Some of their neighbors witnessed the 2 fighting at their home on several occasions over the last few years. Police were called to Nikki and Tyler's home numerous times since 2020. Nikki's sisters would regularly plead with Nikki to leave Tyler and move out of the home. During previous flare-ups in the couple's relationship, Nikki would leave and stay with a family member or friend for a few days at a time. Then Tyler would reach out to Nikki, telling her that he loved her and he was sorry. Tyler's apologies were convincing, and Nikki would think he had changed, and this time things would be different. As the assaults grew more aggressive, Nikki became genuinely fearful for her life and afraid of what Tyler would do to her if she tried to leave him. Tyler had a sense of power, as his family held roles of power within the community. Redding Rancheria is a Native American reservation in Shasta County where Tyler and his family are members of and reside. His aunt is the vice chairman, and other extended family members are members of the council. Tyler's grandfather was the elder. After the fight involving the cutting board, the Redding Rancheria Tribal Court got involved and they removed the children from the home. The kids began staying with Nikki's family. Someone close to Nikki's family said, quote, "The tribe child services took over and labeled Nikki the primary aggressor. The tribe told Tyler he could go home with his children, but Nikki couldn't go home. He told them no, he's going home with his wife." Though the children left the home, the violence between Nikki and Tyler continued. Neighbors recall an incident where Nikki left the home with bare, bloody feet after Tyler had broken dishes in the home and she stepped on them. In another incident, Tyler wielded a wrench and chased her around the yard with it, and in another, neighbors witnessed Tyler splashing gasoline on Nikki's vehicle while telling her he was going to cut her head off. On Wednesday, November 29th, 2023, Nikki came home around 8:15 p.m. to find that Tyler wasn't home. She went into the bedroom where she began combing her hair. Approximately 15 minutes later, Tyler returned home in a strange mood, and for some unknown reason, he went and locked the back door to the house. He seemed agitated and was not making any sense. When Tyler found Nikki in the bedroom, he immediately jumped on her, held her down, and dragged her around yelling at her. Nikki said Tyler had a glazed, scary look in his eyes. She believed he was either on drugs or was having a mental breakdown, or both. Nikki had suspected Tyler was using methamphetamine on and off and believed he had used that prior to coming home this evening. While Nikki tried unsuccessfully to calm him down, Tyler tormented her, pinned her to the ground, and repeatedly struck her in the face and started pulling her hair. This behavior by Tyler continued for approximately 3 hours, during which time he bound her by the ankles and wrists and placed a piece of tape over her mouth. During this time, he turned Nikki over onto her stomach and straddled her from behind, pulling on her hair and forcefully pulling her head back, saying he was going to kill her. He poured cold water on her face to mimic the feeling of drowning. Nikki genuinely believed she was going to die, especially as Tyler tried to wrap an unknown item around her neck to choke her. After 3 hours, while Tyler was in another room, Nikki was able to wiggle free of her restraints, grab her car keys, and flee the home. Tyler allegedly chased after Nikki, even jumping on the hood of her car, but she was able to make it to her sister's house. When she calmed down, she told her sister what happened. A few days later, on December 1st, Nikki was treated for her injuries in the emergency room. Her sister Chloe went with her to the hospital and said Nikki was so severely beaten that she didn't even recognize her own sister. The police report described that both of Nikki's eyes were severely blackened and swollen. She had bruising on her forehead and her entire face was swollen. That evening, law enforcement made their way over to the house to speak with Tyler. According to Tyler, Nikki received the injuries from an altercation she had gotten into with a woman 2 days prior. He even went as far as to allege that Nikki was in a romantic relationship with this woman. Tyler told police that there hadn't been any disturbance between him and Nikki, that the couple had been getting along perfectly fine and there were no issues within their marriage. The deputy wrote in his report, quote, "Tyler is substantially larger and stronger than she is, and there would be no way for her to fend him off in his fit of rage during the assault." Tyler was arrested and charged with 4 felonies, including felony domestic violence, false imprisonment, and terroristic threats. A separate arrest took place on December 1st. Court documents showed that 5 firearms were found inside the bedroom of their home in plain view. A records check revealed one of the firearms was reported missing out of Oregon. Nikki had made her mind up. This was the last straw. She realized that her relationship was unlikely to improve and had decided to leave Tyler. She started meeting with a victim's advocate. On May 7th, Tyler was due in court for an arraignment. He pleaded not guilty to the 4 felony domestic violence charges against him. That same day, Nikki texted Chloe to share her intentions to divorce Tyler and start her life anew. She was really excited about her decision and had begun looking at furniture for a new place. Nikki had plans to start over to get her kids back. She was ready and looking forward to it. However, Nikki would never get the chance to divorce Tyler because just a few days later, she would go missing. Not long before Nikki disappeared, a witness saw the couple fighting. They claimed to hear Tyler yell at Nikki that he was going to kill her. On the evening of May 17, 2024, Nikki was visiting her brother-in-law, Brian, who was in the hospital because of an emergency. Nikki sent a text message to her sister Kay that while visiting Brian in the hospital, various people were shuffling cars around, driving people back and forth from the hospital and dropping off cars. Around 12:35 a.m. on May 18th, Nikki sent a brief text to her sister, Chloe, explaining that she was on her way to drop off her mother-in-law's vehicle and that one of Tyler's friends would be following her to then bring her back home. Chloe texted Nikki later that night and into the early morning hours of May 18th, but did not get a response. Her text went through as green instead of iPhone's blue iMessage, suggesting that Nikki didn't have service. All weekend, the sisters kept in touch via the family group chat, but Nikki didn't chime in. After a couple of days, Nikki's sisters realized that she hadn't been in contact with any of them. The sisters began to worry when Tyler said he hadn't heard from Nikki in a few days either. He explained that they had a fight and Nikki decided to stay at her mother-in-law's home. Things were not adding up. Every time Nikki and Tyler fought, Nikki would go to her sister's house, so her sisters didn't understand why this time would be any different. Tyler's text message to them provided further worry. He strayed from his usual apology and this time said, quote, "I think she's missing. I don't know. I think she's missing." Exactly where Nikki was, who she was with, and what vehicle she was in is unclear to Nikki's family. Tyler and his relatives have conflicting accounts of the details of Nikki's last known movements. Tyler said the last time anyone saw Nikki was Saturday, May 18th, when she dropped off her mother-in-law's vehicle. Tyler then shared a few stories about how Nikki left, including calling an Uber and leaving in it, running off with a woman she was in a relationship with, and the last story, Nikki headed to Las Vegas with a man she had started dating. Tyler's accounts of May 18th weren't making any sense, and Nikki's family was worried. Chloe filed a missing persons report with the Redding Police Department on May 21st. Due to information suggesting that Nikki was last seen in the Shasta County Sheriff's Office jurisdiction on the Redding Rancheria Reservation, the investigation had been taken over by the Sheriff's Office Major Crimes Unit. Redding Rancheria both said local and warranted searches were conducted on the property, but they were unsure where Nikki was last seen, and they are unaware of any evidence that would indicate Nikki disappeared on the reservation. A few days later, on May 25th, Nikki's 2002 pewter-colored Chevy Avalanche was located in western Tamaha County with no signs of Nikki. Tamaha County is about an hour's drive from Redding Rancheria. Nearby to this area is a residential property owned by Tyler's cousin Tara and her husband Joshua. Members of the community set up searches for Nikki with search party volunteers consisting of concerned citizens. The first search was arranged by a family friend, and the second search was arranged by someone in the community who just really wanted to help. A week after Nikki's truck was located, a search party thoroughly combed through the area along Highway 36 where her truck was found. On June 3rd, Nikki was scheduled to appear in court for a settlement conference, but she did not appear. Later that month, on June 25th, Tyler's dark blue Chevy Silverado truck was confiscated by the Shasta County Sheriff's Office. A search warrant was issued as what the Sheriff's Office described as an ongoing investigation involving Tyler's cousin Larry. As a result, Tyler's vehicle was seized and Larry was arrested and charged with a misdemeanor manufacturing/sale of a large capacity magazine and a felony for being a felon/addict in possession of a firearm. Authorities did not release any information regarding the ongoing investigation that led to Larry's arrest, though there is speculation that his arrest could have been linked to the recent death of his 2-year-old niece who had been placed into his care. A few days later, on June 28th, more than 1 month after Nikki went missing, Tyler returned to court. Around 100 protesters gathered to demand justice for Nikki. Tyler was seen smirking and laughing at the protesters while flipping off Nikki's sisters. The judge continued Tyler's hearing until July 5th to give the prosecution more time to find Nikki or secure additional evidence to support the felony charges against Tyler. On July 2nd, the Yola fire burned 19 acres next to a remote residential property roughly 16 miles from where Nikki's truck was found. The 40-acre property is owned by Tyler's cousin Tara and her husband Joshua. The cause of the fire is under investigation. Authorities were planning to search Nikki's home and the property around it for any signs of her, but before they had a chance to do the search, there was a fire on the property. The fire ripped through a portion of Nikki and Tyler's 3.5-acre property, preventing the planned search for Nikki. The Olinda fire burned 98 acres and destroyed several vehicles allegedly belonging to Tyler. Tyler claimed the fire was sparked by a hot catalytic converter that came into contact with dry grass. He was cited for starting the fire but was not arrested. The cause of this fire is still under investigation. Many believe Tyler could have been burning evidence in the fire. On Friday, July 5th, the district attorney announced that the DA's office had decided to dismiss without prejudice all 4 felony charges. This meant that the charges could be refiled at a later date. The decision to dismiss was made because Nikki had not been located and her presence was necessary to move forward with the case. This caused a community outrage, but the district attorney's office explained that while the decision to drop the charges was difficult, it was necessary, as everyone has a constitutional right to confront the witnesses against them. That same day, more than 200 people gathered in front of the courthouse to seek help in finding Nikki. They held a rally which coincided with Tyler's court date. During this rally, Tyler and his lawyer were escorted to and from the courthouse. Tyler did not participate in the rally. On July 19th, Redding Rancheria placed a large billboard to spread awareness about Nikki's case. A Facebook page was also set up to help gather information and spread awareness. Tyler was arrested again on July 31st after being pulled over. He was accompanied by a woman who looked like his mother. He was charged with a misdemeanor for driving with a suspended license and a misdemeanor for violating a court order. He was also charged with an infraction for not being able to provide officers with valid proof of registration. Tyler's previous legal restrictions related to the domestic violence charges prohibit him from possessing firearms or ammunition. When the officers searched his vehicle on July 31st, they found ammunition. His suspended license stemmed from a 2020 DUI, which his blood alcohol limit was more than twice the legal limit. Tyler was booked into the Shasta County Jail and bailed out during the early morning hours of August 1st. He had a court hearing pertaining to his arrest for driving with a suspended license scheduled for August 2nd. However, the charge was dropped. In October of 2024, while Tyler was in court for traffic-related charges not related to the July 31st charges, another rally was held outside for Nikki. During this rally, several deputy marshals were posted outside the courthouse and in the hallways outside the courtroom where Tyler appeared. Tyler did not participate in this rally. In March of 2025, the sheriff's office announced that Nikki's case has turned into a homicide investigation. Though they did not say what specific pieces of new information they uncovered in the case, they did announce that detectives have identified persons of interest in her slaying. Law enforcement is asking for the public's help with identifying the driver of a red-colored truck who may have picked up a male adult in the area of Highway 36 near the area where Nikki's vehicle was found between May 18th and May 25th of 2024. Anyone with information on Nikki's whereabouts is asked to contact the Shasta County Sheriff's Office at 530-245-6540. Redding Rancheria is offering a $10,000 reward for information leading to Nikki's location. Shasta County Secret Witness is offering up to a $10,000 reward, and Kingsman Philanthropic Corp. Is offering a $10,000 reward, bringing the combined total reward up to $30,000. Thank you for listening to Without a Trace with your host, Jolynn. I hope you enjoyed our deep dive into Nikki's disappearance. If you enjoyed today's podcast, please subscribe and follow the podcast on social media. And join me next week as I dive into another case.